Hey, everybody. Welcome to this special pop-up one-off. I'm not even quite sure what we're calling this, but we're going to have a great time today. And today is going to be educational. Not so much informational, but educational. Today, I am going to be your guide through, what is the most important batch of evidence in Son of Sam that's ever come out. And what are we talking about? We are talking about the Queen's DA investigative files. Yes. So, those of you in the chat, you guys have pretty much been with me from the beginning. You all know the buzz that our series generated worldwide, went viral. Absolutely the most influential Son of Sam series ever in the history of the case, bar none. Um, and of course, it generated so much buzz out there, so much positive and negative buzz, but so much positive buzz that, quite a few people went out and did some very important work on their own. And one of those people, who actually is anonymous, was responsible for this amazing FOIA requesting of all of the Queen's DA investigative files. And why is this so important to our subject, which of course is Son of Sam? Well, I'll tell you why it's so important. And of course, big shout out to everybody in the chat there. We got Ray J, we got Ruby, the great Ruby. Everybody, all haters, watch yourself. Ruby is on the scene. We got Matthew Kenny, we got Lori, we got Cadence, we got Nikozma. Hey, Nikozma, haven't seen you in a while. The gang's all here, so great to see everybody. So this Queen's DA dump, I got a little lost here. But this Queen's DA dump is super important. Why? Because it is the investigation into Maury Terry's claims. Anybody who's a student of this case knows that Maury Terry found sympathetic ears within the Queens District Attorney's Office, primarily from John Santucci, the actual Queens DA, and his staff. It's funny because when you go through all this material, you realize what they actually thought of Maury. But that's a whole other story. But this was the investigation into Maury's claims of cult activity. Now, let's not forget that in 1979, when all this stuff was going on with the Queen's DA going out to North Dakota and speaking to the friends of John Carr, speaking to the Carr family, speaking to all these people whose audio recordings are all here, and Ruby's going to put up the links in the chat. There's two links we have, one to the homepage and one to our Google Drive page, which is actually easier to navigate, but we're going to show you both pages today. At the same time that this investigation was going on, Berkowitz was writing to his friends and his psychiatrist about what a pest Maury was, what a fool, how stupid Maury was, how there was no cult whatsoever, how it was all erroneous information, confusion, superfluous. He called Maury a non-Christian fool and so stupid that he'd freeze to death in North Dakota. And of course, people then say, well, why did he then agree to work with Maury? Well, first of all, I'm not quite sure of the genesis of all that. Maury was a very forceful person, and I think he forced a lot of his stuff onto David. But quite frankly, David was bored. Disco Dave was bored. He wanted to troll somebody, and he found the perfect foil in Maury Terry, because Maury so wanted to believe his own bullshit that he actually fell for David Berkowitz's trolling of him. And that's actually one of the tragic things about this, because Maury then went on to make this basically book of fiction called The Ultimate Evil, based upon these files that we're going to see. But he took them and he selectively edited, he manipulated, he outright distorted, lied about quite a few of it. And listen, I've been through this before a million times on my video series. If anybody doubts me, go watch 10 hours of my Brooklyn series, okay? Go watch the different videos and audios of Wheat Carr's statements, of the witness to the Voskerichian murder. All this stuff, of course, points directly to Disco Dave being the soul killer in Son of Sam. And I will say it once again. I was once the biggest moron out there. Mauron. Moron. I was a Terry head. Yes, I admit it. I was once a person who, if you dared said that Berkowitz acted alone, I'd hit you up with, oh, but what about Mr. Real Estate in Untermeyer Park? What about James Caan, who lived in Berkowitz's building? What about him knowing John Carr's nickname, Wheaties? Well, first of all, James Caan didn't live in Berkowitz's building. John Carr's nickname was not Wheaties. Okay, and all of these things we learned from the Queen's DA files. So I was once the biggest Terry head, and of course, it was a long and painful journey. It was very fun, but it was painful because I lost quite a few people along the way. Once we realized that Maury Terry basically lied to us completely. Ray J asks, "Do I still chat with Wheat Carr?" The answer to that is occasionally, yes. We're not best friends. We're not enemies. There's no reason for us to speak. But every now and then we'll DM on Facebook together. Yes, Matthew. The Carr boys had absolutely nothing to do with Son of Sam. Again, this has all been work that's been done. It's in the can. I have tons and tons of videos, Matthew, that you could watch on the on my YouTube channel, which you're on right now. If you want to see the most stark example of how he lied to us, watch my Brooklyn series. Okay. But also Berkowitz never knew John Carr. It was a complete chimera. It was a complete hoax. So super strict. Okay, good. We're getting some new people in here. So anyway, so today what I wanted to do is I wanted to be your guide through these files, because one of the things I'm finding is that even though we completely smashed the paradigm, even though we changed the history of Son of Sam, and our video series is actually the most important investigation into Son of Sam besides the NYPD. And why do I say that? Because the only other one was Maury Terry, and it's a complete farce from start to finish. Okay, we actually dealing with truth and showing you the actual evidence that Maury did not show you. All right. So very important to understand that every answer you need is in these files. And one of the things I'm finding is that the Maurons set, the Maurons, and let me type that into the chat so people don't think that I'm calling them morons. Hey, I'm calling them morons. Mauwrons. Okay, it doesn't mean that people are stupid, like a moron. Moron. What it means is that you're a Terry head. It's a new name for Terry heads, and of course, New York City Crime Spot came up with this great name, and it's much better than Terry head. So we're gonna call them morons. To this day, even 20 minutes ago, I had to answer a stupid comment on YouTube. Oh, but what about the composite sketches? And what about the eyewitnesses who said that Berkowitz didn't do the shooting? Well, okay, which one? Because I can show you every eyewitness that said it was Berkowitz, including Tommy Zano. And I have a whole video about that as well. So the morons are still out there. For some reason, they're either ignoring our video series, YouTube is suppressing it, or they're just not smart enough to understand what it is we did. Because remember, we don't talk down to you guys. We don't treat you like fools. We don't sit there and pretend that because someone has the same last name as someone else that they're involved in criminal conspiracies, like so many of these dumb, stupid conspiracy heads do in true crime. Our video series was revolutionary because of the simple fact that we took conspiracy theory out of true crime. As I said on Crime Spot show the other day, I'm down with conspiracies. Okay, you want to talk to me about the greatest hits, Oklahoma City, 9/11, the pandemic, right? And all this stuff in between, school shootings, all this stuff. You want to talk to me about conspiracies? I'm with you there. But when it comes to true crime, and when it comes to Son of Sam in particular, there was no conspiracy. All right. It was a complete farce made up by the satanic panic influenced Maury Terry, the alcoholic drunkard who treated all of his compatriots like absolute dirt. As Moet said, he manipulated, he lied, he bullied, and he abused. All right. So you can be a conspiracy theorist, but not a conspiratard. Exactly. Super strict. Very, very good. All right. So we're doing good. And super strict gets it. He says that eyewitnesses sketches are notoriously unreliable. True, absolutely. And even so, half of the sketches look exactly like David Berkowitz. Okay. So let me see what else people are saying before we get into here. Man, he doesn't do guides. He does codices. Pull up a chair. It's home time. All right, Captain Slappy. And I appreciate, of course, Captain Slappy made a very, very nice tribute video to my series after we officially ended. And of course, some of you are probably saying, well, if you have ended Son of Sam, why are you back talking about it? Well, because there's still unfinished business out there. We're not actually doing any investigation anymore. Those days are over. We're not doing any analysis anymore. Those days are pretty much over. Although I will make two announcements right now. One, I'm going to be doing a series on the Lomino Demasi shootings because that was unfinished business. And John Catalano, my boy, he has lobbied for me to do this, and I'm going to absolutely do it because it's something that's important to him. And also, I got the guys from the Killer Tape podcast coming on very soon. I'm going to be meeting with them this weekend to hash out our schedule. But they are doing this great podcast, which no one's listening to, hardly anyone's listening to, of audio tapes of David Berkowitz in 1979. So those guys are going to be coming on the show. But in general, we're just we're tying up loose ends. There were some things that I still wanted to get to when I finished the investigative portion of the series. And why did we stop? Well, because we figured this out. Son of Sam is not interesting. Okay. I hate to say it, but it's a very mundane crime. It's the prototype incel, total loser, couldn't get laid. His friends abandoned him. He was sitting there all alone. He had misphonia. The dogs were breaking his balls. He couldn't stand life anymore. He saw no reason to live. But instead of killing himself like he should have, he took out 6 people with him and wounded 7. But there was no help. There was no conspiracy. There was no cult. Untermeyer Park had nothing to do with Son of Sam. And so therefore we finished. But at the same time, I want to guide you through these files here because I want you to become a better researcher. I want you to do better in your life as a Son of Sam researcher. And oddly enough, people are still coming at me with the moron shit. All right. And it's clear that no one has even heard of this website, The People vs. David Berkowitz. So let's go through this and let's start talking about how you can become a better researcher. Well, first of all, this website looks like it's something out of like 1997. All right. I don't understand exactly what's going on here with this crappy website. The way that it looks, it's hard to navigate. It's clunky. For the person who did the work of getting all these files, I don't know. They could have done a little bit better job making this a little nicer, but it is what it is. Okay. And God bless this person. I don't know who it is. I emailed them twice asking them to come on the show. They never responded. I have no idea how true the bio is of this person. But let's talk a little bit about this. All right. So welcome to The People versus David Berkowitz. All right. So let's go down here. Whoops. Hold on. A second here. All right. So the largest public repository of investigative files and documents relating to the Son of Sam case. And that is absolutely true. Okay. Every criminal investigation report, photo, and audio file highlighted in this website was obtained through the Freedom of Information Act. Whoever did this did a huge service to true crime history, and particularly the Son of Sam. We had already figured out that Son of Sam was the lone killer, but this material here sealed the deal for all of us out there. It was obvious after this that there was no leg to stand on with the cult. However, this person who did this website is a moron, is a cultist, thinks that there was a cult in Son of Sam. And they're also a piece of crap because here, for those who don't have much knowledge of the David Berkowitz Son of Sam case, there are 2 primers that are essential to gain an overall understanding. Okay, give me a second here. Okay. To gain an overall understanding of the person in the case, I strongly suggest reading Maury Terry's Ultimate Evil. Okay, so right there, huge red flag. Okay. And then at watching every episode of Joshua Zeman's Netflix docuseries, Sons of Sam, A Descent into Darkness. Notice who's not here. Notice that my name is completely missing from this list. Meanwhile, the reason this person did this was because of the buzz from my series. Okay. Absolutely without a doubt. And how do I know this? Because check this out. They obliquely throw shade on me here, right? I am not a podcaster or a blogger, and this is not a membership or monthly subscription fee driven platform. I am an independent researcher. That's throwing shade at me, okay? People got so pissed when I actually went on private with the investigation and I had to charge people. And I had to charge people was because I was out of work and I was doing this as a full-time job. So you guys paid for this investigation that I did. All these videos, you guys paid for them. Okay. Each one of you with your $3, $4, $5, $30 that you spent over the few months that I was charging people. You got a lot of value for your dollar. Okay. Because no one else was doing this work. So this is really kind of effed up that this person said this, kind of dissed me here. But it's all right because I used all this material that he put out to against his thesis, which is the cult. Okay, he actually thinks that there's a cult. So you have all this here, right? 45 years ago, as it happened, and then it shows you all of these files and videos. It has the conspiracy tab here, which if you press on it, it takes you to why is it not working? I don't know why it's not working. I wonder what's going on here. All right, conspiracy. Let's see if that works. See, this is a clunky ass website. So this person here talks all about how Berkowitz was in a cult. Okay, Berkowitz declared that at least 5 cult members were at the scene of the Freund deal shooting. Okay, whatever. Are they in the room with us now? I mean, give me a break. Berkowitz did name 2 of the cult members, John and Michael Carr. These were the sons. Berkowitz claimed that the perpetrator of Lomino Demasi was John Carr and added that a Yonkers police officer was a member. All right, all of this stuff we've debunked right now. It's all on our webpage. You can see videos with this Yonkers officer. His name was Patrick O'Shaughnessy. I have videos with his friends where we listen to his audio tapes and all that kind of stuff. So this person here is it's weird. None of the investigative files, okay, that let me get back here. None of the investigative files, you press investigation files, okay, to get to where you want to be. But we're not going to actually go through this one because it's, again, clunky. We're going to show you a different way to get the same files. If you go through all these investigation files, there's no evidence whatsoever that there's any cult or anything besides David Berkowitz. But this is amazing. Okay, so you have all of these investigative files, and do me a favor, Ruby, put every now and then put the website so people can go to it and follow along if they want to. You have the arrest reports and files. You have Berkowitz's letters. You have forensic reports. You have Maury Terry's files. You have psychiatric letters, NYPD reports, victim reports, police reports from Yonkers, Brooklyn DA reports about the Moskowitz and Violante. And then if you press any one of these, it takes you to like the files here. But again, it's like so clunky. We're going to show you a better way to do this. But so this is the actual official website. Okay. And you can go to Billy Dan Parker's statement. And then when you press on this, it'll download PDFs for all you guys to see. All right. And NYPD reports. Let's take a look at that, right? Investigator notes Berkowitz's contacts, Berkowitz's arrest report, his auxiliary police documents, his firearms permit application, everything you need. Everything you need to figure this out is here. And we've already done quite a bit of the work for you. Remember, I have over 100 videos where quite a few of them, dozens of them, deal with the files in here. So I've done a lot of this work for you. I've literally read every page of every report out of these files. Okay, so no one, maybe there's people who are equally up to speed as me, but no one knows more than me about any of this stuff, except for maybe my friends and my buddies who were, who were following along. But even quite a few of them weren't as hardcore as I was about this. I learned that in the Berkowitz auxiliary police documents here, right? That's where I learned, if you go into here, and we'll look at them in the other web page, that's where I learned that Berkowitz learned how to write block lettering by 1970. Okay, the same lettering that he used in the Breslin letter in 1976. So here you have this web page which you can go to. It's called the People versus David Berkowitz. Okay, but what I want to do is I want to show you a little bit a better way to do this, and I'll let me just get this up here. Google Drive. Here we go. All right. So I thank God every day that I have the great Ruby Almighty working on my team, working with me and for me rather than against me, because I would not want Ruby against me. Ruby has been since day one the greatest documentarian of all of these files. She organizes them for all of us. The service that Ruby has done to the true crime community, particularly the Son of Sam community, it's invaluable. I mean, it's just as important as anything I've ever done, including probably even more important, because I use the organizational files that Ruby has put up. So she's done this amount of work to organize everything that's on the web page that we just saw before. Okay. She has put into this Google Drive link right here. And Ruby, if you're in the chat, please put up the here. I could actually do it real quick. This is free for everybody. This is open source. You don't need permission. What she has done is she has taken every file, and she does this every time there's a new file added to the web page of People versus David Berkowitz. She adds it here. So everything is on this Google Drive link. And the reason why this is better is because she's organized it into folders, right? And if you click on any of these folders, instead of getting the PDFs are already there for you to see, right? You don't have to download them and figure out what's on them. Okay. So they're there for you. So let's take, for instance, well, let's see, Yonkers police reports. Okay, and these are all the detective reports from the Netto case, arson, Molotov cocktail, right? And so you could learn here about all of the crap that he did to his neighbors. Here's the arson against Sam Carr. There's all the crimes against the Netto family here. And again, the purpose of today's thing isn't to go through these files and to analyze them. It's just to, again, show you that they exist, where to find them, and how to actually research them. Okay, whoops, hold on. There we go. Okay, so let's say psychiatric letters, right? I had a whole video series called Psychiatric Sunday that was based on these 4 folders right here. Each one of these folders has like 300 letters in them. So if I go to Berkowitz 2, right, and I go on to here, and of course this is all available for you to download. Okay, if I go down to April 20th, 1980, okay, let me find it, because that's where we can see that he disses the cult stuff. Okay. So again, this is all for you to read. I highly suggest that you read every one of these letters, because he goes into great detail about how he did the crimes, about his motivations for the crimes. He talks about the cult aspect being ridiculous. He goes into his childhood. I mean, again, we've done a lot of this work for you already in our Psychiatric Sunday, but maybe you don't feel like sitting and watching me talk for an hour and a half. Maybe you want to do the research yourself. So here's all of his stuff here. So it's looking like actually this might be in the folder 3. Okay. So let's find here. All right, so we're getting closer to April 1980. So 3/11/1980, April 3rd, 1980. All right, so let's get there. Let's get to where we want to be. Again, we don't want to analyze, but we do here. But we do want to show you how you can use this to research. Okay, now check this out. Now, as for this cult, right? I'm aware of many stories about an accomplice, but this isn't true. And I think it doubtful that Mr. Rubenstein could have told you this, right? Blah, blah, blah. As far as I know, it is just like you said. The investigation in Westchester, that's Maury's investigation, didn't lead anywhere. I assume that it has been discontinued and it probably started because of a series of unrelated coincidences and erroneous information. All right. And also, one of the things that you can see here when you read these letters is that Berkowitz was extremely intelligent. He was way more than capable to write the Son of Sam letters. Let's look at Maury Terry's notes, right? Because you have all of these Maury Terry files. This is like the mother lode for people. Here he is talking his bullshit about Wheat Car, with unverified information, all rumors. Okay. Blah, blah, blah. Again, Wheat Car, him slandering her and libeling her and her brothers. Right. What else do we have here? Okay, some Wheat Car. Like, I don't know why he's doing this with Wheat Car's parking tickets. Like, I guess he's trying to show that her handwriting, which looks nothing whatsoever like any of the handwriting in the Son of Sam letters. Okay. So let's see this one right here, because this is ridiculous. I want to show you one thing. Okay. Like okay, right here. So here he is, right, talking about the cult that did this in 1980. And he talks about it being called the Way, right? Right here. So before he blamed the process, he blamed the cult called the Way. All right. One got into way in this manner, an individual would be approached, blah, blah, blah. I mean, okay, whatever happened to that, the way. Ridiculous shit. And then here's a good one too. Okay. Here's another example of Maury's methodology, right? So here, writer also reports, sorry, okay, that a Yonkers cop lived on this route in those days and remained there until moving in 1979. The writer provided 2 license plate numbers of cars seen near the address on numerous occasions. The numbers are 79 VLL and Magic 12. 79 VLL as of yet has not been checked, but Magic 12 is listed to an Alfred Ciavarini, 49 Corton Place, Yonkers. However, phone book also lists Alfred Ciavarini at 3 Philipsi Place. In any event, Ciavarini is a Yonkers cop, I have learned. The writer believes there may be a tie-in between the Phillips Place cop, Magic 12, Ciavarini, Berkowitz, and the mailman's death. So here he is saying that there's a Yonkers cop involved and the license plate is Magic 12, so somehow or other that's nefarious. Let me tell you something. We called Alfred Ciavarini. We have long and extensive conversations with Alfred Ciavarini. We just never put him on the air. When we showed him this, he was livid. He said, dude, I'm a magician. That's what I did in my spare time. Like I was a cop, and then on my spare time, I loved magic. I was a magician. I was a performing traveling magician, right? So that's why his license plate was Magic 12. But according to Maury, because he had a license plate called Magic 12, he was associated with Berkowitz and Andrew Dupé's death. I mean, this is Maury's methodology. It's complete and utter crap. So anyway, I want to carry on because there's some really other interesting things. I mean, I'm telling you guys, this is unbelievable stuff that you have at your disposal. You have all the forensic files. You have the ballistics report, which proves that it was one gun right here. Okay. Positive. All the tests on all the bullets show that it came from one gun. So there's another myth destroyed. And then, of course, we have all of these interviews, okay, audio tapes. Yes, audio, Wheat car. Yes. We have Tommy Zano, where he clearly said it was Berkowitz who shot Stacy Moskowitz. We have Tom Taylor. We have all the people in North Dakota, all of their audio. None of Sal Lupo, Rosemary Keenan, right? Roger Woods, all of these people, Rick Armienti, all of these people, Richie Sparazza, even he was named by Maury as a shooter, okay, as an accomplice to David Berkowitz. You have his tape right here. It shows nothing of the sort. Okay, so again, you need to put in the work. I've put in this work. If you want to talk to me about Son of Sam, you need to put this work in. You can't come to me having read The Ultimate Evil and use that as proof. I've already debunked that book from start to finish. All right. We have all of Berkowitz's letters, right? So here are all his crazy letters, which you can read that prove that he was still using the terminology. He was using the terminology from the Son of Sam letters and these letters all over the place. Okay. And I've shown that numerous times, so we're not going to go into it. But look at all these letters you can read from Berkowitz, right? All of these insane letters. How many people Sam and John Carr have killed may never be known. The bodies will never be found. I know at least 50 people who they have done in. Okay. Are these 50 people? Are they in the room with us now? I mean, this is bullshit, man. A few of them are buried in the wooded area in the rear of, and that says 316 Warburton, right? So of course that's a foreshadowing of the Borelli letter. Behind our house, some rest, just bones now, it's all there for you. Okay, today the devil dog at Wicker Street is in great pain. Why so much suffering and pain? Yes, we are evil. We are the children of Satan. We will kill the innocent. The guy was nuts. He was wigging out in his apartment on Pine Street, right? December 27, 1976. I've read this a million times. Bring me the head of a woman to place on our altar. And then, of course, at the bottom of this, he uses manure, vomit, and urine, just like he uses in the Son of Sam letter. Okay. I beg the Wicker Street cult to leave me alone. So there's the cult that he was talking about. It was in his head. It was called the Wicker Street cult, right? And this, of course, was the day that Virginia Voskerichian was killed. So he woke up that morning, 9:15, wrote one of these insane letters, and then how much blood does he want me to spill for him, he writes. And then later on that evening, he goes out and shoots someone. Okay, please, my ears hurt. My Sam Carr is God. Sam Carr is king. Sam Carr. This is all here for you. Here's the famous warning to police letter that Maury used half of to prove that the process was behind Son of Sam. Nothing could be further from the truth, because if you read the whole letter, right, which Maury only put up to this part right here. If you read the whole letter, he's absolutely freaking nuts. He's talking about tasting his own blood, how the houses in Yonkers were all haunted, and so on and so forth. So it's all here. Samuel Carr, destroyer of persons, destroyer of life, of dreams, of love, of hope, and of peace. Samuel Carr, cruel, mean Sam and his screaming maniac, that ugly, howling blood monster. God, how my head hurts from his piercing screams. I must kill for John Carr, that terrible rapist and child molester. See, this is where the myth came that John Carr was a rapist and child molester. It came out of a delusional letter by Berkowitz. He didn't know John Carr. He found these people in the yearbook, in the phone book. You should hear John boast about his perverted conquests. That terrible John Carr, born to ruin people. Okay, is John Carr, is he in the room with us? Is he in the room with us now? I mean, absolutely ridiculous. Okay. So again, this is just part of a million things that you can see on these websites. Here, new documents. Okay. So there's all sorts of stuff. Here's Nikolai Aman. This is how I got all my stuff for the Howl series. It's all there. Okay. Now, there's a couple things that I wanted to show here, the process, because this is one of the things that the Terry heads are using to prove that Berkowitz was in the process. Personal diary, Robert de Grimston. No, it's not there. Where was that? Here's Brooklyn DA files. Here's all of the reports for the Brooklyn shooting. I used all of this stuff for my Brooklyn series, which was 10 hours long. I went through each one of these files and I found the corresponding police reports that Maury Terry used for his narrative, to craft his narrative. I realized how many mistakes that he made, or outright lies and distortions, where he changed times, he changed locations, he left out information that was on the police reports. But his biggest crime with Brooklyn was changing times of. He says that things happened right after the shooting that happened half an hour after the shooting. Okay, which is a crime against you guys out there. So it's all here for you guys. I'm not going to even look for the. Well, actually, let's look for the process stuff. Let me see if I can find that again. Share screen. Here we go. Share. Oh, wait, hold on. Stop. Share. Here we go. So what I want to do is I want to find, I want to debunk the process stuff right now, because there's very, very low information mouth breathers out there who are saying that these prove that Berkowitz was in a cult. Okay. It's like, this is a very clunky site again, like not really working all that well for me here. It's interesting. This site works every day, but on the day that I do my show, all of a sudden it's not working. Isn't that interesting? Let's get here. Home the People versus David Berkowitz again. So I'm not even paying attention to the chat here, but let me look at that here. Let me look at some of the things here. Right. So super strict is, I love that we have access to the police files and the solid meat and bone. Right. Exactly. I don't want people to believe me. I want people to do the research themselves and then see if my analysis is correct. Also, I want to put out there for the audience, because I know that there's plenty of morons watching this. Some of you even have your own little pissant shows on Son of Sam where you get like maybe 30 views. What I want you to do is, if you find anything in these files that proves that Berkowitz was in a cult, bring me the evidence and we'll do a show together. Okay. All right. So newly added documents. Let's see here. All right. So here we go. Here we go. 11/23/22. This you got so declassified FBI documents linking David Berkowitz with Process Church. Well, let's check that out. All right, here we go. Okay. I don't see anything yet so far. Here we go. Oh, look. Interesting. Look at what this says. According to the charter of the organization, it was called of God to bring about the end of the earth and the final judgment of man. Unsubstantiated information alleges members of, quote, the process range from Charles Manson, Sirhan, and the Son of Sam. So it says unsubstantiated information alleges. Okay. But meanwhile, the troglodytes, the mouth breathers, use this to this vindicates Maury. This shows that Maury was, and just so you can see how dishonest these people are about this. There are some highlighted things here, right? So here it goes. It goes. David Berkowitz of the Son of Sam fame was a member of the process and was associated with the individuals running Best Friends Animal Society. Okay. The leaders of BFSS are alleged to have been involved with Berkowitz in several murders that occurred to New York. Salt Lake City anticipates a possible interview of Berkowitz revolving. All right. So that looks pretty damning here, right? But it's just preliminary inquiry instituted. It's just a synopsis. These people probably were FBI agents who just read The Ultimate Evil for background. And also, if that was highlighted, why wasn't this highlighted? Right? Why wasn't the one that I showed before highlighted? Right? Unsubstantiated information alleges members of the process range from Charles Manson, Sirhan Sirhan, and the son of Sam. Right? I mean, totally ridiculous. There's no proof in here whatsoever. And then they do that again, showing you how dishonest they are. They only highlight the ones, the passages that the process set up a chapter of New York City in the late 70s. David Berkowitz of the Son of Sam fame was a member of the process. All right. Well, this is from Salt Lake City, counterterrorism, FBI in 2000. Again, no proof. Advised that he believes that BFSA members, Marianne DeGrimson, right? So none of this stuff is actually factual. This is just background information that they got most likely from reading books, Ed Sanders, Maury Terry, and so on and so forth. So this is just another fail of the people versus of the David Berkowitz site, and a fail of the Terry heads. So anyway, I think that pretty much shows what we need to do. Just again, I want to, again, it's really acting very clunky. I just want to show you again. So Ruby, do me a favor, put the link in if you wouldn't mind. Okay, so again, you want to go to the people versus David Berkowitz. You have the investigative files are what you want, and then you want the newly added documents. Okay, but really, in reality, the best place to go, and we have not changed anything about these files. We have not amended them. We have not edited them. We put them up in a much more easy to access form on this Google Drive. And Ruby, please put also the Google Drive link. Okay, it's going to be in the chat. We want you to do this work, everybody. We want you to become better Son of Sam researchers. We want to have intelligent conversations with you, but it's impossible to do unless you get up to speed with the information that's out there. There's thousands of pages here. I defy anybody to not only research like we have on this web page, on this site here, what we've done. Okay, but interpret it as well. Okay, you have everything you need. You have NYPD reports, right? You have every Brooklyn shooting. You have the arrest files, right? Every file here showing pictures of Berkowitz's apartment and his auto and all of this fun stuff. Okay, it's all there for you. Even a picture of his freaking gun. Right? The gun. It's all there. It's all ready for you to look at. Okay. What else do we have here? We even have that process stuff here. Actually, some of it doesn't look like it made it in here. So we may need to upload some of that other stuff. We have arrest files. Where are the victims? The victims right here. Here's every police report from every shooting. Okay. Go through them like we have. It's all here. You can look at them. You can go up here. You can download this all, so you don't have to like do it, all in one time. You can download all of this stuff is there for you, and we've done this work for you. Well, Ruby did it, not me. Okay. So it's all here. So I just want to. I don't really think we need to talk more about this. I just want to say that the Son of Sam case is in good hands. It's in our hands. And even if the entire world has not yet realized it, Disco Dave acted alone. Okay. There's just no ifs, ands, or buts. There's no two ways around it. But again, I hold out an open mind. Now that I have showed you how to fish, I haven't given you a fish. My video series was giving you fishes, right? But now I'm teaching you how to fish in today's video. So now you can go out and do your own work if you were not aware of any of this stuff existed. And in so doing that work, I want to carry on this conversation with people of good faith. If you're a hater, afangul, you can screw off. I don't care about you. If you're a mouth breathing, knuckle dragging troglodyte with a podcast where you have to buy your views, right? Which is happening out there, right? I might talk to you guys if you come to me with actual real information. But right now, you're just jerking yourselves off. I have no interest in speaking to you guys. If you're one of these people who is a true crime conspiracy fanatic, and you think that my father was involved in Operation Mockingbird, well, then we have very little to talk about, because it's just absolutely ridiculous. What happened with our video series is that people couldn't believe that some random guy who no one knew me, right, came out and kicked everyone's ass. All right. And I destroyed the cult thesis. Absolutely took it down. I did it with a great team behind me, and putting in actual work. And quite a lot of that work was analyzing these files. This is all there for you to see. If anyone out there in viewing these files has any questions about them, come to me. Let's talk. Let's have a nice conversation. If anybody finds a smoking gun in these files, which doesn't exist, by the way, but if anybody finds a smoking gun in these files about Berkowitz being a member of a cult, bring it to me. Let's do a show on it. I'll be so happy, because, again, I was originally a moron. I was an Mauron. I was originally a Terry head, right? And everyone says, oh, he was put up there by his father, Operation Mockingbird head, to change the case to why? Who cared about this case? Nobody gave a shit about Son of Sam. I mean, let's face it. What would be the point of inventing a person like me? No, my story was true. It's always been true. I was out of work, had nothing to do, was going crazy because of the pandemic and the lockdowns. And I went out and I started a video series because I finally had the time to do something that I wanted to do and the technology that I wanted to do for decades. Okay. I had no idea it was going to become so popular. I didn't even like the popularity of it all. As you all know, I got rid of my first channel, which had 20,000 subscribers, and we became much smaller. We started doing it for free again. We've been doing it for free now for well over a year. We're having a great time. We have moved on from Son of Sam. But again, the simple fact is that we do have some unfinished business from the old video series. So, okay, here we go. So Midnight Lightning Radio. I don't think he acted alone, but I think the process is a red herring. I think the links between Roy Cohn and Radin and their possible formations of covens. All right. Well, has anyone actually proved that Roy Cohn and Radin knew each other? That would be the first thing you'd have to do. You'd have to prove that they knew each other. Then you'd have to prove that they formed covens. Okay. So you would actually have to have forensic evidence like Midnight Lightning. I'm not trying to bust balls here. All right. But what I'm saying is the days of just making innuendos, that's Maury Terry stuff. Those days are over. I would first like to know what Roy Radin had to do with Son of Sam. Let's just start that conversation, because I can see no evidence whatsoever that Roy Radin had anything whatsoever to do with Son of Sam, and he was killed over this Cotton Club deal with Robert Evans and Bob Menser and cocaine and Laney Jacobs and all this weird shit that was going on in California. Was Roy Radin a nice guy? I doubt it. I never knew the guy. I don't know him. I don't know anyone who did know him. So I can't say one way or the other. Didn't seem like he was the nicest person in the world. But at the same time, how was he involved? And if you're going to make allegations, you have to prove allegations. You can't just say something as fact. And again, Midnight Lightning, I'm not trying to single you out here, but Roy Cohn and Radin and their possible formations of covens, where are you getting that from? Like, where did that come from? I mean, it's so far beyond the realm of reality, like, because there's just no proof of it, right? But there's plenty of proof and plenty of forensic evidence in the Queen's DA files. Okay. So here we go. Manny will go down True Crime History as the owner of the facts in the case. I would like to say thank you for that, but I disagree. Lord James Bankhead, you know that you're my boy. We would go back a long way in the video series, but I don't own anything. All I'm doing is just analyzing this stuff. Why? Because no one else is coming out and doing it. It's like the onus is on me to do it. I'm trying to teach people this about the Queen's DA today so I can have some help. So there's some people out there who can actually join me in researching properly Son of Sam. And we all are the owners of these facts. So it ain't just me. It's a Browie. I had to get one of those in from Moet. All right, let's see what else people are saying because I'm having a good time today. Now, this isn't so Kay Schreiber, Midnight Lightning Radio. Roy Cohn himself seemed to be a demon incarnate. I will agree with that. The guy was not a good guy. In Jim Rothstein's book, The Way It Was, he talks all about how Roy Cohn killed kids and buried them on his property, and he was involved in child trafficking and all this stuff with the UN. But again, even that book, there's no proof in there. It's just some guy saying something. So we're still living with the legacy of Maury Terry's trash methodology, which was the same methodology that some of the mouth breathers use today. The drunkards. If you have the same last name as someone, that somehow means you're involved in a criminal conspiracy. Like right now, the rep on me is that because there was a guy named Dyer Grossman in Michigan who was involved in something called North Fox Island, which I never heard of until someone brought it up to me. That somehow or other I'm related to, not only related to Dyer Grossman, but involved in North Fox Island, even though it happened before I was born, or maybe when I was 3 years old. We have a few relatives in Michigan, but they came from Pittsburgh. They weren't originally from Michigan. And this guy, Dyer Grossman, I have no idea who he is. But let's say that we were related. Let's say Dyer Grossman was my brother, my long lost older brother. How would that prove that my family was involved in North Fox Island? I mean, again, this is what the conspirators do. They learned it from Maury Terry. If someone has the same last name as someone, they're guilty. So anyway, all right, so here we go. So I think the whole Cotton Club connection is also a red herring. All right, well, it looks like you have very, very distinct opinions, Midnight Lightning. Not going to try to argue with you. I don't know about the Cotton Club deal. I did read the book on Roy Radin many, many years ago, but quite honestly, it didn't interest me all that much. Wasn't Roy Cohn involved in the Red Scare of the 1950s? And let me tell you something about the Red Scare of the 1950s. It wasn't a Red Scare. If people had listened to McCarthy back in the 50s, as flawed a character as he was, the United States would not be in the problem that it's in today. Because what happened was, from the starting in the 1920s and 30s, the Reds, the communists, did actually infiltrate all of the institutions of the United States, academia, media, and politics. And we're living the result of it today. I mean, that's just the long and short of it. So any Red Scare, I would have supported 1,000%. And in fact, we need another one. We need to root out these communists in our civic life today. I think Son of Sam was a larger strategy of tension operation to promote militarization of the police and gun control and general chaos. All right, well then, Midnight Lightning, great. I'm not saying you're wrong, but who ran the operation? What did they have to do with David Berkowitz? Right? I mean, there's a lot of forensic questions in there that we would need answered for your theory to be true. And again, I'm not trying to single you out, but you are singling yourself out in the chat by putting up these comments, which again, I'm not trying to bust balls or not trying to be angry at you, my man, Midnight Lightning. I know that you're a good guy and you've been watching for a while and you don't agree with me, but you've always been agreeable and respectful, and I like that. But again, you can't just make these things out there, these statements out there, without actually having proof to back it up. Because I'll be honest, I used to believe the same thing. And if you watch my early videos, I was talking about Son of Sam being an Operation Gladio strategy of tension, but I was just saying this stuff. I was still like, in the Maury Terry camp. I had no concept of what I was actually saying. Let's see. That's because you guys are good in the chat today. I can't go into a whole discussion. Okay, fair enough. Maybe you'll put them in the comment. Let's see here. FDR's cabinet was full of Reds. Absolutely. Hey, Ralph, dude, the more closer you look at the Raiden murder, the more clear it becomes that it didn't have anything to do with Son of Sam. Exactly. Here's a great statement by Captain Slappy. Theories are easy. Proof is hard. And that, again, is such a beautiful statement, because with the Queen's DA files that you now have access to, because I've taught you how to fish today, here's proof. And I know what people are going to say. Oh, it's the NYPD. They're corrupt. Well, what motivation would the NYPD? 300 detectives were on this case. What? Every one of them was corrupt. Every one of them was working for Roy Radin and Roy Cohn and the process. What motivation would they have been to lie about any of these documents, or to forge them, or to fake them? Okay. It just is beyond the realm of possibility. There's always going to be one or two corrupt cops out there, no doubt. Okay. But as a whole, the NYPD did a great job on Son of Sam. And quite frankly, they caught the guy. Of course, David Berkowitz basically asked to be caught. I don't think they would have caught him if he didn't get that parking ticket. But yeah, theories are easy, proof is hard. And these files that we have here that you have access to are the only proof that you're ever going to get in this world, in the real world, okay? In the actual real corporeal world where the reality exists. There is no other evidence out there. If there was, it would have been shown by now. This is the only evidence that's out there, and this is the best evidence. Why? Because these reports from the Queen's DA were made specifically to investigate Maury Terry's claims of cult involvement, of accomplices in Son of Sam. That's what the whole investigation was about. So you would expect that investigation, if they found things that were proving to be true about Maury's theories, you would expect to find that in these files. And I've gone through every file, every page, every letter with a fine-tooth comb. No one has read this stuff more than me, maybe equally to me, but not more. And I have yet to find one thing that vindicates Maury Terry. And I can find you 1,000 things that proves that Maury Terry manipulated, lied, bullied, and abused not only the victims, not only the families of the victims, but all of us out there in the true crime community. All right. So let's see what else is going on. UB relating to Grossman is not something I heard, but is ridiculous. You should be on the other end of the North Fox line. It deserves. Okay. It's not my interest. Okay. North Fox Island, I have zero interest in. If I'm going to look at every pedophile out there, well, first of all, it's very, very heavy mentally. Okay. It's not pleasant. There were many times that I got burnt out in Son of Sam, and I had to stop doing what I was doing because it got too heavy. All right. So if someone else is interested in North Fox Island, that's fine. They can study it. Doesn't have any interest to me. I never heard of it either until some morons out there, some conspiratards, were like, Dyer Grossman is in your family. And there's a whole guy whose entire life has been, I'm not even going to mention this moron's name, this drunkard's name. I think people who are watching know who I'm talking about. Some clown show. His entire existence now is about me, my father, and he's just making up lie after lie after lie. It's absolutely ridiculous. I would actually counter it, but there's no point. The guy has like 4 viewers. So there's no threat there. Okay. So let's see what else. It's so easy to come up with theories. Yes, exactly. There were so many cults formed in the time period made up of East to manipulate people, and many of these were linked to intelligence. Now, I'll agree with you. There were a ton of cults in the 1960s. I don't understand what was going on in the 1960s. I'm still trying to make sense of it in my Harlem Mosque studies. okay, that I'm doing with Randy Jerkinson. But again, what does it have to do with Son of Sam? Um, okay, just looking at here. So you guys are great in the chat. You guys are kicking ass here. You never see Manny in the same room as Manny, the Manny hoax. Conspiratard's gonna conspiratard. Yeah, I'm just having a good time today with you guys. This was a very light show. I already did what I needed to do. Now I'm just having a good time because I'm bored. I gardened all morning. Great time gardening. Just awesome being out there doing my thing. All right, so I think that's basically it. We've gone an hour. I don't want to go any further. So all right, so here again is our conclusion. Number one, whoever made the People versus David Berkowitz website, even though they are clearly morons, Maurons. And again, I'm not calling people stupid when I say that. It's a play on words. If you think of yourself as a Moron, well, that's in your head. I'm calling you a moron. You're a follower of Maury. The guy who did this website is a moron. However, he did, or she did, whoever the hell it was, did the greatest service to the Son of Sam community, even more so than my video series. Of course, no, this would be not anywhere shown if it wasn't for my video series, because there hasn't been one other Son of Sam researcher who will actually touch this stuff for real, because it doesn't prove that there was a cult. It shows the opposite. So you have this amazing resource at your fingertips. No other crime out there has this amount of voluminous material that you can study, actual forensic evidence, documentation, detectives' reports, audio recordings, photographs, Berkowitz's own letters and writings, and so on and so forth. It's all there for you. I have taught you where it is, how to navigate it. Now the onus is on you to be a better true crime researcher, to be a better Son of Sam researcher. And for God's sakes, stop being a moron. All right, guys, we'll see you at the next show. Take care.